Here's how you can solo all of the Dragonflight raids on Mythic Difficulty. Much easier now thanks to some undocumented changes in the recent patch. There have been some major changes which make these possible for pretty much all players. If you're level 90 with just regular gear, you should be able to solo these bosses no problem, even on level 80s as well thanks to the legacy raid scaling. There are some really sought after items from these bosses, such as the mount from Mythic Fyrakk and the Moonkim form from Tindral, as well as the legendary axe of course. Let's go through each raid in order on Mythic Difficulty, starting with the Vault of the Incarnates, which can be found here on the map in Thaldraszus. So for the first bit, you don't need to actually do the assault, you can just start this and just wait for the 2 minutes. Mounted on the dragon doesn't really do much damage to the adds anyway, so probably better off just waiting, and then go through, kill the big fire elemental in the middle platform, and then head to the first boss, who will simply just fall over, especially if you are level 90. Nothing to see here really, just damage him and get him killed. The second fight as well, the Council, this is also a very easy fight. Obviously just do some AoE damage and some cleave, and you'll get those bosses dead no problem. On your way to the third boss, Dathia, just make sure that you kill the big air elemental, and click on the drafts to move up to her platform, and then click on the second draft to move onto the platform. When you're fighting Dathia, just try not to get knocked off. There are some knockbacks, so just dodge the lines that will knock you when the swirlies are about to move, but other than that, again, the mechanics aren't particularly deadly, so just DPS the boss. Once Dathia is dead, then click on one of the downward drafts, and this will take you back to the start of the raid. Then take the path towards the vault approach, the path on the right of the map. Head down the corridor and then branch off into Teros's room, who's again a really easy boss fight, just nuke him, just watch that you don't fall down the middle. And then once you kill Teros, head back up the steps and take a left, following the path towards the icy spider boss, Senarth. Now when you fight in Senarth, this is the first one where it might be a little bit odd. There is a risk of falling off the platform by slipping on the ice, so do be careful to not be too close to the edge of the platform. The boss does have a really big hitbox anyway. Now, Senarth is going to basically spiral up the ramp up to the very top over the course of the fight. A key mechanic to be aware of is the fact that she will put some webs on you, which you will then drop on the floor. Do stay either stood in the webs or just behind the webs so that the webs are between you and the boss, so when she pulls you in, you don't get pulled off the platform, because that will of course be an instant death. Now you may get stunned, but don't worry, because if you do, when you come out of the stun, it is quite long, about 25 seconds, you'll then just need to basically race up to the top of the platform and kill Senarth, who will be casting. Just interrupt the cast because she takes a lot less damage, and then just finish the boss off. Once Senarth is dead, then you can click the little swirly, and it will take you down to the bottom of the ramp. Head out of the spider room and then turn left, and you can now go and kill Kurog Grimtotem. If you're a bit undergeared and his mechanics are hurting, just make sure during this fight that occasionally you move him into a different segment so that his abilities switch to different elements, because the longer you stay in one platform, the more kind of chaotic it's going to be and the more it's going to hurt. Once you've killed Kurog, then you can move out of the room and jump off the bridge to go straight back to the main entrance. Now you want to head up the ramp in front of you to the final bosses. Now Broodkeeper was a very troublesome boss for soloing, as the adds needed to not be close to her, but this actually doesn't matter anymore. Everything is fine to just stack up on the boss and just keep cleaving everything down. Do move her around the boss room so she breaks the eggs. When some eggs are broken, just kill the adds that spawn and then move on to another cluster of eggs. You do actually require a lot less eggs to break now before she is killable. So just keep moving after the eggs break and eventually you'll get her down. It's quite satisfying to see this boss be so easy to kill these days. And then it's time for Raszageth. So click on one of the dragons and then they will take you over to Raszageth's boss room. So you can die quite easily here if you get knocked off again. You do need to do the phase mechanics as normal. So on the first knockback, where there's a big air swirly in the middle and she's in the air, you need to use this to get knocked onto the platform on either the left or right hand side. If you haven't done this fight before, do take a second before the fight starts to familiarise yourself with the layout of the room. So you start off on the top platform, the highest one up. There's a platform to the left and the right, and then there's one in front as well. So the second phase, you get knocked back onto the left or right platforms. You basically have to go down there. There's 3 big adds, big elemental adds. Kill those, some adds will spawn, kill the smaller adds, and once all the adds on the platform are dead, you can stand on the teleporter, and that will take you to the middle platform, the middle lower platform. So when you go here, you need to go to the other side of it and go on the adjacent teleporter to go to either the left or right platform again, whichever one you weren't just currently on. Do the same thing again, kill the big elemental adds, which there will be 3 of, and then kill the smaller adds, and then take the teleporter back to the lower middle platform. Get her health down a bit more and she will summon 3 more big adds, kill those, and then she will do another knockback. Now this time you're basically getting knocked upwards onto the platform where the fight started, and that is where the final phase is. But this is probably the easiest phase, just simply burn down the boss, and that is Vault of the Incarnates soloed. Now don't worry if you do get knocked off, just try the fight again. If you've never seen the boss fight before, it might take you a couple of attempts. Just drop the embodiment of the Storm Eater appearance for the renewed Proto Drake as well, so you can basically get that mount to look like Raszageth if you like that kind of style. And hey, just a quick one, if you're enjoying the video, please do leave it a like and subscribe to the channel for more WoW content here at the Drowsy Dragon. Thank you. So onto the second raid, Abberus the Shadowed Crucible. This is up at the top of the map down in Zaralek Caverns. So head to the first boss, just clear out the trash and wait for the RP. Killing the first boss is very straightforward, just dodge the fire pools if they are doing some damage to you. You don't need to worry too much about the soaks unless you are potentially undergeared, so do those. You might need some health heals for this fight as well, but otherwise just a straight nuke of the boss. When you've done the first boss, head left and go towards the Shadow and Flame Elementals. Now, these guys don't share HP, so do cleave them down until they go together. They will merge into the second phase. When they are merging, they don't take any damage, so just chill for a minute, don't blow cooldowns at that stage because they will be wasted. You can take this time to heal up if needed as well, and then once they've merged together, just burn the boss down as quick as you can whilst avoiding the mechanics. Very easy. Once they're dead, head on through the newly opened pathway towards the third boss. Now this one's super easy, it's 3 bosses in one, there's nothing too threatening with this one, so just nuke them down. Now once these bosses die, you can then head up the chains, but this pathway will be blocked off. So what you should ideally do is head out of the room, but drop down and cross over onto the other side, heading towards the Assault boss at the Defiant Ramparts area. For the Assault boss itself, ideally just full send all your cooldowns at the start, and try and burn this guy down as quickly as you can. If you do so, then you won't really need to bother with the adds that keep coming up from the ramparts. But if your DPS isn't that high, just follow the main boss around and just keep DPSing him down. When he does the phase where he goes back to where the door is and starts trying to ram through, just remember that you need to prioritize not letting him hit the door, because if the door gets beaten down, then the boss wins basically and you die. So don't let him do that. The boss after him through the doorway is Raszageth, so most of the mechanics here are kind of irrelevant now. You don't need to worry about the soaks and things, but again just burn this boss down and keep out of the fire. When he dies, there will be some chains at the back of his boss room, so do run up those chains all the way to the back and follow it around until you reach Zaskan. Now here, the boss room will fill with fire due to the traps and the dragon heads at the edges of the room, and some adds will spawn as well, some golems. These will attempt to fill the room with even more fire, so do kill the adds, they barely have any health, and just dodge the fire really, and then he does die pretty fast just like the other bosses in this raid. Once Zaskan is dead, head down into the lava at the back of the boss room where Neltharion is stood, drop down through the hole. Clear the 3 double sets of lava worms and then the boss will appear. This boss does hurt a fair bit. Out of most of the raids, this is the one that nearly killed me, so you may need some self heals or health pots here. Standing in the lava will make the pool smaller, but you will of course take more damage, so you could just alternatively move around, but the boss room can fill up pretty quick. When you get the boss dead, swim through the lava again to make your way down to Neltharion. So here, on the Neltharion fight, you've got to kill the 3 adds when they spawn to progress the fight. You'll get targeted with some Madness debuff occasionally, and this is what will enable you to attack the adds. So just wait for that to trigger, make sure that you stay near an add so that you're ready to switch to it, and then nuke it down when you can. When all 3 of the adds are dead, that's when you can damage Neltharion once again and finish the fight. The walls will break occasionally, but you can also use the Rushing Darkness ability that he casts on you to get knocked into the walls to break them if needed. Once Neltharion is dead, you can head down to Sarkareth. So this fight can be a bit of a tricky fight if you aren't sure what's going on. In the first phase, don't blow all of your cooldowns straight away, and you want to get him down to around 60% where he will transition. You do want to save your cooldowns for phase 2, which is probably the deadliest part. So during phase 1, you'll get 2 stacks of a debuff that you need to clear. You simply do this by purposefully getting hit by either the Flame Breath or the Disintegrate, which you can't avoid anyway. So make sure you clear these stacks before phase 2 starts, otherwise you're probably going to die. And this is why you don't want to burn him down too hard at the start. When phase 2 does start, you'll see void coloured pools on the floor. Stay out of those. Avoid all the other mechanics as best you can. Some will cause a wipe if you do step into them. Now at the start of phase 2 you would normally get sent down into the emptiness between stars phase, but that's now changed, so you should not get sent into that. So just completely ignore that part of the fight, stay out of the purple pools and blow your cooldowns when phase 2 begins. Be sure to kick end existence or you'll die. There are some knockbacks, so just don't be too near the edge, and hopefully you get him killed, and then that is the second raid done. This guy does indeed drop the Evoker Legendary, so good luck if you are farming for that. And he also drops the Highland Drake embodiment of the Hellforce, which is a very cool appearance, so also good luck. And now onwards to Amirdrassil. So this raid is in the Emerald Dream Zone in the Dragonflight area. Now the first boss has the roots mechanic, but this is no longer an issue. It basically doesn't happen properly anymore, so just burn the boss down and you can blast all your cooldowns at the start of the fight. You will notice that there is quite a significant jump in health in these bosses compared to the first couple of raids. So if you are under geared, this one could be a bit more of a struggle. So burn the first boss down, and exactly the same with the second boss. Just dodge the mechanics if you want to. Unless you're a bit low geared, just dodge them anyway and blast the second boss down. For the third boss, go left after the second boss dies into the Volcaros room. Here you don't actually need to kill the adds, so you can just zoom through if you can avoid them. What you'll see on the Volcaros platform, which is a ring around the lava pool, is there will be some shadows on the platform, so just move out of them as you'll get knocked away if you do get hit, likely into the lava. So dodge those slams during the fight, and eventually he will cover a big area of the platform in lava, so just move to one side out of it and DPS him down till he's done. The next boss is Laradar, and it will get quite messy here on the floor. The roots can be very annoying. Even if you break them, you're just going to probably get rooted again, but you should be okay to stand in the fire. It doesn't really hurt that much, it just looks quite chaotic. The treant that spawns will heal itself gradually over time, as well as the seed in the middle, but of course if you want to heal these yourself, feel free. Just keep DPSing the boss, and once he dies, make sure to click on the seed in the middle of the room to open the gate. Head to the very far back of the boss area and you'll be at the Wellspring Atrium again once you go through that gate that you just opened. Then you can head over to the right hand side, through the door, and you'll be on your way to the Council of Dreams boss. Now this fight can be a bit of a pain. These guys don't share health pools, but they do need to die within 10 seconds of each other, otherwise they will rebirth themselves. You can ignore the bears mechanics and the dryads mechanics for the most part, but with Pip, he will still turn you into a duck, so you'll need to run into the green pools and make use of your new abilities on your temporary extra action bar to clear some pools, and then you can turn back into your normal form using the second ability. This is where it can get a bit dangerous if you are relying on self-heals and things, because of course you can't do that while you're a duck. I would recommend getting Pip down quite low first, and then just cleave the other two bosses, because they can be stacked up quite easily. Pip's a bit elusive, so it's hard to get them all stacked together for really even cleave, but if you can, go for it. You could perhaps take this steady and then save some cooldowns for when the bosses are very low health, just to make sure that you can finish them off before any of them rebirth. Once the council boss is dead, then you can head through the back to Namu. Now, you got to kill the big treant adds first of all to let the boss become interactable. They need to be kicked, and these guys will be the same during the boss fight as well. So the damaging is pretty straightforward at the start of the fight. The intermission has been nerfed very heavily, so it doesn't deal that much damage anymore. You do need to kill the two adds that spawn, so just like the trees that you saw before the boss fight, head over, kick them, and then kill them, and there's the add in the big green bubble at the back as well. Just make sure you kill those adds, and then go back to the boss. You will also get the little lines coming out that will stun you if you get hit by them, as you can see here. So just try and avoid those lines, and just basically DPS the boss down. Not that dangerous. It's time for the final three bosses. So to get to Smolderon, you do of course have to activate the bridge. So when you're back at the Wellspring Atrium, click the seed, channel into that, and as you're running across the bridge, just make sure to not get knocked off the bridge by the little fire swirlies that come down. So either sprint across or just take your time and do this carefully. Once you make it to Smolderon, again, not a very dangerous boss. He's got quite a big health pool, so he will still take some cooldowns and a bit of time to get him down. Dodge the fire as best you can, and just simply DPS the boss. Quite straightforward. Then, when he's dead, you can click on the dragon to be taken up to Tindral Sageswift's platform, and he's our second to last boss. Now, Tindral has also seen some nice nerfs to him, so there were some seeds that needed to be soaked in one of the phases, but now only one seed spawns, so you can soak that yourself nice and easy. And the seed will also no longer give you a debuff when you soak it, so just soak the seed and keep focusing the boss. Now, of course, with this one, you will have to do the platform mechanics as well, so when he gets to a certain percentage of health, he will drop some feathers on the floor. There will be a lot less feathers, because of course you're solo in this, so just pick up one of the feathers, make sure you get on a flying mount, don't get on a ground mount and jump off, because that's an embarrassing way to die. Hey, but at least you're on your own. So get on a flying mount and follow the boss onto the next platform. You can fly through the little green balls in the air to give you a bit of a boost of movement speed, but you can just alternatively use your normal abilities and skyride across. When he lands, just DPS him down, he will get a bit of a shield, just break the shield, and then keep on DPSing. He'll do it a second time, he'll fly over to another platform, so same again, pick up a feather, get on a flying mount, and follow him across. On the third platform, exact same, break the shield, DPS him down. And this guy can drop the really cool form for Balanced Druids as well, so good luck on that. Now this boss is one of those ones when you do, transmog runs or mount runs for Fyrakk, people still get confused on this, so don't worry if that is you. Do just take some time to familiarise yourself with the boss fight. It might be a good idea doing this on normal perhaps, but then again you may DPS him down too quick and not actually see the other platforms. But just keep an eye on the boss when he does take off and follow him through to the next platform. It is a straight line that he goes in, and you know they're going the right way if you're in the area where there's all big balls of fire in the sky and green orbs to collect. That's how you know you're going the right way. Now when Tindral is dead, Fyrakk will be in the sky. He will leave a big gash in the sky, like a big fiery slit. Insert rude jokes here. So what you want to do is, again, just wait for the RP to finish so you can get on a flying mount again. Again, don't do what most people do and get on a ground mount and just go flying off the edge. So when you can get on a flying mount, then mount up, fly into the air, and fly straight into the fiery hole in the sky. And that brings us to our final boss, Fyrakk. So, he's had some big nerfs as well. So, some of the stacks of one of the debuffs will only go to one stack, so it does a lot less damage to you. The shield during the intermission has been nerfed heavily, so you can take that down really fast. And the adds that you get, this is one of the major mechanics, some adds would spawn at the back of the room and slowly walk towards the heart of Amirdrassil. Now they needed healing, but don't worry if you're in a class that has no heals, because these adds now do heal themselves. So as long as they don't get hit by mechanics, by the time they get to the sea they should be at full health and not cause any problem. You do have a lot more time to kill Fyrakk now because the Heart of Amirdrassil drains at around 1% every 3 seconds, as opposed to 1% every 1 second before these nerfs came in, so it has bought you a bit more time. Now if you are on a level 80, this might be a bit trickier to do, but at level 90 you should have the DPS to DPS him down pretty smoothly. Do be aware there are some knockbacks, so don't be too near the edge, like try and be in the middle of the platform and use some kind of movement speed ability when he does a knockback. Or, reverse disengage or something like that if you're a hunter. Nuke Fyrakk as hard as you can. You can absolutely pop cooldowns at the start of the fight, by the way, as well. And when he does his breath, he will spawn a line of adds, which can be quite problematic for the friendly adds. So just kill those adds down as quick as you can. Use some strong AoEs if you've got them. And just look after the friendly adds. Try and get them healed up, or let them heal themselves, and just clear the path for them as they come through. If the big trees get hit, don't worry, they will turn hostile, just kill those as well, it's no big deal. And once you've got Fyrakk dead, good luck on the loot, and with the mount, and the axe if you're trying to go for the axe as well. So honestly guys, doing these on a level 90, you should have no problems whatsoever. You don't need to be giga geared either, like level 90 with just some average gear should be totally fine for doing this now. So good luck on all the drops. If you've got any extra questions, do leave a comment down below, or pop into the Discord and we'll have a chat over there. And I'll help you out as best I can. I hope the guide has been helpful. If it has, do leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more guides like this, all about World of Warcraft, for me, the Drowsy Dragon. Thank you to our channel members here on YouTube and over on Patreon. If you'd like to support us in that way as well, the links are all in the description. Thank you very much, guys. I've been the Drowsy Dragon, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.